being on the Mahabharata war side and witnessing Arjuna and Krishna having the conversation.
Yeah.
And if the kid has a question of something and the kid asks the question live, the AI at the back end will answer the kid.
Okay.
Or Krishna, being the AI avatar,
then
AI avatar would answer the question to you. A set of papers. Okay. Can you decipher what I've written on the back side of the paper?
Namaskar. Welcome to Clyde Samvada, brought to you by the Hindu Temple of Scotland. So today, we are not going to dive into the normal spiritual stuff that we talk about. Today we have something different, something which is a very hot topic, I think, and it is going to be for this decade and more.
Okay.
So today we are going to talk about the integration of how the artificial intelligence is going to either interfere or join the path of faith. So Dr. Sreevas, when we started talking about this topic, I was very intrigued that how this initially came to your mind, because this has never been, in my wildest thoughts that artificial intelligence and religion, even if it came, it was just like, maybe it will just spoil it, nothing much. But how was your thinking came into being, if you could just give us a dive?
Yeah, so I didn't start thinking about it naturally either. So about 6 months back, there is an organization called Data Lab, which is Scotland's AI and Innovation Center.
Lovely.
Okay. They approached the temple asking the question of how AI would influence Hindu faith 50 years down the line. Okay. So I was like, okay, that's an interesting question. So the question was directed to the temple, but it came to me because of the fact that in my day job, I teach at the university, and one of the courses that I teach is around disruptive technologies and future business models. So I'm a business school academics, but then I look at the intersection between technology and future business.
Okay.
So this question was directed to me because the temple committee knew that he might have an answer.
Yeah.
So the question came to me, and that's when I started thinking about potential intersections.
Okay.
Initially thought from the direction of what the question was, which is more about what will happen in the future at the intersection of AI and faith. But the fact that I started reading about it, I was curious to know what's happening currently, what opportunities might exist at the intersection between this, if you are thinking about it from an innovator or entrepreneurial standpoint, and then also thinking about future. So I think that's where the thinking about all of this started for me.
Okay. So when you started researching about it, what was the first intersection that you saw from, two beams going into opposite direction? Apparently, but somehow, let's say, because the universe is cyclic,
yes,
they ended up intersecting. So what is the point of intersection that you see in AI and faith?
Okay. To answer the question, let me start by getting you to do something.
Okay.
I have a set of papers.
Okay.
Can you decipher what I've written on the back side of the paper?
Maybe by joining all the piece, but it is going to take me some time, definitely.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
not ideally, but actually, yeah, definitely, it's going to take a lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you read this?
Is it upside down?
No.
Oh, it's just something, but not exactly making a meaning to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is fine.
Yeah.
Does this make a meaning to you?
Yes. This Om. Yeah. The symbol. Yeah. Om.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you know this and not that?
Because this is set into one place, everything that you see as it is, because there's a memory as well. So this is the only thing that I've known.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was also Om.
Okay.
For the audience, you can just hold it. Okay. This is also Om. It's just that is Om in Malayalam.
Okay.
And this is Om in something that you know of. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. What does this tell you?
So, my understanding is limited depending on the language I know.
Good point.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And if something is disintegrated to integrated, my processing speed is way less than obviously something which has faster speed.
That is where the intersections are currently happening.
Okay.
Where what is has been inaccessible is being made more accessible. This is happening in two directions.
Okay.
One is from the point of view of, if you look at the scripts that we were having in India in the olden days, a lot of the scripts, be it Devanagari script or be it your Grantha script, which is the script that was popular in the southern part of India, these scripts, even though people can learn, hardly anyone know it.
Yeah.
So what's happening is a lot of scriptures that we are excavating from, let's say, stone carvings or even in scroll forms, they are in languages which normal people or regular people don't know today.
They're falling behind, yeah.
So that means that there's been a lot of these scriptures which has been unused, unknown, less known, which is now coming to the fore.
Yeah.
And that is helping to add a lot more interpretation and meaning to faith practices and history of different things as to why we did certain things certain way, and bringing back cultural traditions which we have sort of maybe lost over the course of period.
Okay.
So accessing the inaccessible has been one strong strand of things. To give you very concrete examples of where this is happening, for example, you know about the Ellora caves.
Yeah,
Ellora caves.
Yeah.
These caves are all of these cave paintings.
Okay.
So AA is being used to retrieve out of these cave paintings to create replicas of them so that you can interpret what was really drawn or being made.
Like a realistic picture with which you can have a better idea of what exactly was happening there.
Yeah. And the other example is in stone carvings. Normally what happens is, like, because of climate effects and all of that, stone carvings will get faded off, or like you will have 3 letters, 4 letters missing, 50 letters you have.
Yeah.
So there again, AA is being used for filling up these gaps.
Okay.
And so now you have full words that you can capture, and that helps you with interpretation.
Okay.
To give you an example that was extremely popular or went semi-viral like Octoberish is the example that is from Mount Vesuvius.
Okay.
Mount Vesuvius in like 79 AD or so.
Where is Mount Vesuvius?
It's around Italy. Okay. In 79 AD or so, it erupted. It's like a volcanic mountain. The mountain erupted, and everything around that area got like charred off because it's of the heat.
Yeah.
Along with it, a library around it also got charred off, as in like burnt, semi-burnt. But there were some scrolls from these places which had been retrieved and kept in museums.
Okay.
So museum, typically you just kind of go see what is there in the museum and kind of left it. And the issue was also similar to what you call as the scrambled papers, right? Because if you had touched it, it will crumble because it was like semi-burnt already.
Yeah.
So it was in that form.
Okay.
And around Octoberish last year, there were scientists from the University of Kentucky and a few other universities where they used AI to interpret what was there in these scrolls.
Oh.
And they apparently had elements of, like, they found a term called purple or something like that, and then now they have also started a AI challenge around interpreting other words which was there in it.
Okay.
So there again, it is a mechanism of what was inaccessible being made accessible, because like otherwise nobody would have gone and touched it, right? Like, because like
absolutely,
it's a museum replica and nobody wants to touch it. So this was like they just put through race and then used AI to. AI had already been trained in some of these scripts, so it managed to link what was seen to different scripts and found that it had some parts of Greek and some parts of other language, and then correlated with the two of it and then interpreted what was the term and found it. We would not have been able to find it.
Yeah, as a normal human. Yeah,
because let's not touch it, right? So, like, had we, even if we know the language, we wouldn't have been able to touch it because it would have broken off.
Absolutely.
So these are areas where the intersections are really happening, and that throws out a lot of possibilities for uncovering aspects which have become hidden.
Okay, so even considering exactly this case about the scrolls half burnt, so can we just not, so sometimes, like, maybe it is just me thinking like it's too much being, giving pump to the name AI, rather than we could just say, oh, it's advancement of scientific technology that they managed to replicate it. Rather than AI is doing it. So like a technology being called an AI should it not be like the case, kind of like, how in sci-fi movies it is shown, like there is a robot who started thinking of its own stuff. That is okay, artificial intelligence, that it has a mind of its own.
Yes.
Rather than a person giving command to a machine and then it performing is not exactly artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Am I right to say that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, how much advancement of like a real artificial intelligence is getting trained to be working with the faith? So, how?
Yeah. Let me again give you an example to answer that question, right? So, if you think about our scriptures,
Yes.
one, they're in Sanskrit language, which a lot of people don't know today. And so there's a language barrier to accessing some of the texts.
Definitely.
And second is, a lot of us are now tech driven, in the sense like we are on our phones or we are on our laptops and things like
Even reading the Shastras
are now happening on tab. Okay, with both of us, right? We read it on our tablets, right? So where this intersection is beginning to happen is there are startups which are working on. So OpenAI ChatGPT is the most popular thing, right? ChatGPT works on what is called as large language models. Okay. So there are a lot of parameters which they have. So it's basically training the entire internet onto it, and that's how the interface works.
Okay.
But you could also create what is called as small language models.
Okay.
Which does not have so much parameters, which is, for very simple layman terms, it's like volume of data that you train the system on. So large language models require large data to be trained on it.
Absolutely.
Small language models, a small level of data being trained on it.
Yeah.
So there are people in terms of startups which are working on creating small language models linked to the Shastras.
Okay.
So what they are doing is taking the Sanskrit text, training the model on the Sanskrit text, and creating a Q&A type interface.
Okay, so let's say example of Bhagavad Gita. 700 shlokas, limited data
you can train on it. And then let's say we want to know something about it, like what is the meaning of life. Okay, so the system is now trained on both the 700 slokas as well as its meaning, let's say from different commentaries.
Okay,
so that's what the data set at the back end of this is.
Okay.
And then you have a ChatGPT type interface, like a chat interface of sorts, and we can type in what is the meaning of life. You would have a interpreted, concise answer which brings together, okay, from these slokas, from these commentaries, this is what the answer is. So there are people who are kind of working on that space, and what this will create is a whole host of potential ideas of bringing back some of the things which is no longer mainstream.
Okay.
So imagine kids of this generation or the next generation, the odds of them being expected to learn Sanskrit, to learn this, in my view at least, is going to be extremely low odds or zero odds.
Unless they are, pitched, in such a way, the benefits of learning Sanskrit, that they think that this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Other than that, it is not going to be easy.
Yeah. So, but these would bridge that gap where you are almost like having an AI acharya of sorts.
The knowledge is there, but you don't need to learn the language to get the knowledge.
Yes. So that is where I think we are going to have a lot of interesting work. And there are also other startups which are gamifying this also.
Okay.
So it's like
a quiz kind of thing.
So quiz kind of thing is already in place. But if you really think about future opportunities that I foresee in this, is imagine like Meta has just come up with this Ray-Ban glass of sorts where you have like Metaverse on your glass. Okay. If you have those sort of things, you could potentially be doing role plays of Brindavan. You would the child would be immersed into a Brindavan world, being a Gopika, playing with a Krishna, and that is how storytelling of the future will happen.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
So that is one immense possibility, right? So you're kind of gamifying the whole experience of how you are immersed into worlds, because Metaverse is essentially an immersive world. So you're going to be immersed in a world for role play, storytelling, exposure to your scriptures through that, and that's extremely interesting ways of capturing it. imagine intersecting that with what we said earlier as the small language models. Imagine the child when the child is, let's say, role playing, being on the Mahabharata war side and witnessing Arjuna and Krishna having the conversation.
Yeah.
And if the kid has a question of something and the kid asks the question live, the AI at the back end will answer the kid.
Okay.
Or Krishna, being the AI avatar,
then
the AI avatar would answer the question to you.
Yeah.
Imagine those possibilities.
Too interactive, amazing.
That will bring back what we have lost, because part of why we have lost is we have probably gone down mechanisms which weren't engaging enough to get people to attach to it. But if we do it in this way, that's gonna really change how we look at all of these things.
Yeah, because see, right now, to be very honest, when we talk about the path of spirituality, it's not everybody's, like a cup of tea.
Yeah.
It's a really, really hard, kind of thing, because most of it is like when you gain the knowledge, there is something gonna be big happening, but you don't know when.
Right. Yeah.
It could be after you die.
Yeah. No, but then because it brought in spirituality, right? So you do meditation, right?
Yeah.
So what happens when you do meditation? Like what is it that you are kind of doing?
So right now, like the stage where I am just like when I sit for meditation, it's like I focus on I'm breathing, but with one breath I chant the mantra given by my guru, and the taking out I do the same. That's all I'm doing, and which after effects it's only like something I experience rather than
absolutely. So, but the fundamental concept of meditation is basically getting into a zone of what's called as flow, or like you're kind of concentrate on one thing where you're kind of, let's say, zoning out other things,
or
if you kind of zone off, bringing back to the breath. That's fundamentally what's happening.
Absolutely.
Right? Why do we struggle in, like, when we sit down? For most people, including me, like 2-3 minutes into it, your mind wanders somewhere else.
It goes somewhere
else.
Yes.
It is because we are not immersed enough in the world, in that world, is why our mind wanders off. Now imagine you are in a metaverse world where you are put into these flow states through tech. That, I believe, would help the way we look at meditation in a very different way, because that will power us into flow states, because it forces you to zone in.
So it will be basically less distraction for mind to run away.
Yes.
It will also engage the mind as well, and consciously you want to be engaged.
Yes. So if that happens, what I believe would happen subsequently is creation of a whole generation of further evolved humans.
Beings,
Because you are, one, not distracted, two, you're kind of rising your energy spiritually in terms of engaging with flow states. That is going to really transform. So at the kids level, it's going to be these role plays and interaction with avatars and things like that, through which we will engage people into this. And at slightly higher states of meditation, again this is going to come in and going to play it in such a way that we will, through that, evolve human sort of self through it. That's what I expect to happen.
Okay, so that's like what the good part that AI can do for us. What do you think that will get into the repercussions of getting AI interfering? Because I can think of thousands of things.
Absolutely.
How things can go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just how you see it.
That's the extremely worrying part also, right? So while I kind of boast about all of these good things, the worrying parts are equally making me anxious. So one thing which we have seen is I think around mid last year, you know about Pope Francis, like the Vatican Pope. There was a image of the Pope wearing a white jacket, which went viral. Natural. I mean, like because the reason why it kind of went viral is because the coat he was wearing looked a funny coat. So Pope wearing a funny coat is like curious, mysterious stuff. So enough for virality to kick in. Few days, like the next day into the virality, an official statement came out from Vatican saying that's not an image that they sent.
Okay.
So it was a deep fake image that got
Forged. So it was forged.
So it was a deep fake image that was kind of created.
Yeah.
The conversation that we are having now, we are talking in English.
Yes.
Okay. With the footage that we have of this, with less than 10 pounds and less than 30 minutes of effort, now it's possible to create a cloned version of this interaction.
Okay.
Because there's LM Labs, there's DAD and all that stuff, which can both clone image as well as the voice.
Okay.
Now the reason, have you seen dubbed movies?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah, they sound so right, like when done right,
Yeah. So dubbed movies, if done right works, but if not done right doesn't work.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's because the lip sync between what is being spoken and what the mouth movement is different. That is why
and also the timing, like say something said in a Tamil dialogue, saying into an English dialogue
is very different.
The length will be different. Yeah.
So with this sort of technology, what is happening is now the lip sync also can be modulated to the same way as that languages.
Okay.
So for our video, for the views that we are getting, we're probably not at risk. But had this been like the Pope or those sort of religious leaders of sorts, it's easy to manipulate some of what is content that's just out on the web.
Yeah.
Even if you get image and if you have voice recordings of the Pope from different, and Pope, I'm just taking an example, right? So same could happen with any religion descent. So you can merge both of that, put it into the system, and you can create a perfectly looking real video of
with absolute different meaning. Yeah.
And that, I believe, could blow communal tensions, blow hate. See, imagine this in the hands of terrorist organizations, right?
Absolutely.
That could just blow
out hate
crimes and communal tensions and stuff like that. So that, I believe, is the biggest worry that I have, where you could have this sort of misinformation campaigns, and similarly, like you have now image creation that could happen through this, right? I mean, for that matter, like even our sort of background image of the podcast is an AI generated image. So all that we did was say that we are kind of sitting on the side of a bank of the river with a temple on the side, two people talking, and banyan tree on the side.
Yeah.
All that we typed all of this into ChatGPT, Bing gave the image.
Yes.
But it's easily possible to misappropriate religious symbols, misappropriate religious places, misappropriate gods. All of this can also fuel communal tensions, hate crime and whatnot. So that is one area where I'm really, really worried about the fact that a lot of fake misinformation, misappropriation can happen, and we have to be extremely, extremely alert as individuals to be not falling prey for some of these things. So that's the biggest worry that I have.
Okay. And so we have talked about how it is going to be good and how it is not going to be good. Okay. And I think there are more examples of how it can, go in the wrong way rather than the right one.
Yeah. But let's stay positive. That's the mantra.
Yes, we are very positive regarding that. We are using anyways, like the AI we are using, but still I think if somebody asks me personally or just sharing with you, to the thoughts and with the public as well, the audience we are listening.
Yes.
The knowledge, or we can say the right mindset to use these things in the right way comes from the traditional way once what you have learned.
Yes.
Rather than you initially started from the, the forced way and then going the right way. Yeah. I think because just giving the right mindset, staying positive, using things in the right way has come from a very strong tradition which has a very strong, the value from thousands of years.
Absolutely.
As it has worked forever, it will keep working forever.
Yes. In fact, like the way I am thinking this will play out in the future, like if you kind of think about what is going to happen like 50 years down the line or something, I think what you said now is going to be extremely important, because if you think about Hindu faith, and let's kind of go away from AA and kind of put it within the Hindu faith ambit, right? So if you think about 4 aims of human life that we talk about, it's called as Purushartha, Sadurvida Purushartha, 4 forms of Purushartha, which is Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you said is basically about dharma.
Yes.
So when we are having these large language models being trained, it's important that they are trained on righteous content, truth, and all of that. Because what you get as output is essentially a function of what you feed it.
Absolutely.
So if you feed in the right things, you are hoping that you will get the right outs.
So see, in the same context, like when you were telling about the startup, the small data, and we took example of Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Like very normal example. Okay. Yes. So let's say we take 3 Bhagavad Gitas. Okay. One from Gita Press, a different translation.
Yes.
Then one from ISKCON.
Yes.
Prabhupada's translation. Then we take one Ashtavakra Gita, different translation. 3 Bhagavad Gitas fed to the AI. I'm going to ask the question. It will answer.
Yes.
Considering what technology it was fed with it.
Absolutely.
Still, I think so. A real knowledgeable guru will be needed to give me that. Let's say cross-checking.
So I am seeing this as a multi-stage process, right?
Okay.
The way you would get current generation and the next generation of kids interested in it might be this AI Acharya interaction would be their first step.
Yeah.
They get exposed to this through that first step and through games like what we kind of talked about, like Metaverse games. And subsequently, that interest and the curiosity that's fed into them through that mechanism would transition in the next step to more of
the real one.
So I'm not saying this is going to replace that. That is not the direction I'm going in.
Okay.
I'm just saying that for the next generation to be really interested in some of the ways and means of interacting with this, we have to go where they are. Right? If they are in the metaverse, then we have to be in the metaverse.
Is it like right to put, let's say there is a 4 or 5 year old kid.
Yes.
Let's say they want to now play with a ball and a bat.
Yes.
We give them a plastic bat and a spongy ball, which is not a real, hard bat. But just to get them interested
absolutely.
in. Once they grow to an age, then we show them that this is not
wooden
bat. This is wooden bat, leather balls.
Same.
Right? So the interest is building up, they are very enthusiastic about the things, and then you give them the real.
Yes.
So this is where this is, I think so now I'm much more getting the point where the AI will play the role in people getting interested into things, giving them a real experience, and then once they reach the right age, then a real guru enters and then they give the bigger picture.
I think that's how it's going to play out. So just going back to the dharma point itself, right? So you need right data to have the dharma element kick in.
Yeah.
Once you have that kicked in, Artha would naturally improve because with more of bots doing a lot of the work and economies in general growing and all of that, I think Artha, which is economic aspects, would naturally grow. Dharma is more about like moral consciousness and things like that. Artha is more of economic prosperity and all of that.
A very interesting question just now came to mind.
Okay.
Do you think like a person whose dharma part was done right will have clearer understanding of how much artha is needed?
Tricky question.
Like the person who is really walking the righteous path knows the artha part, how much the way it is to be done. It is not about less and more. You can earn the entire world's, but how it should be done will be done right when your dharma part is done more right.
Absolutely. That is absolutely true. And what I also think is likely to play out 50 to 75 years down the line is more of the mainstreaming of what is now called as universal basic income.
Okay.
Which is when there's more of robots which are, let's say, doing the work.
Okay.
The economy will grow because there is labor happening. As in, it might not be human labor, but its labor is happening in some other place and form.
Definitely.
So when labor happens, capital gets generated.
Yeah.
Okay. So that capital some countries are already doing experiments with this. I think Norway and Finland probably had an experiment around universal basic income where everybody, irrespective of what they are earning otherwise, were given a fixed income every month.
Okay.
With AI becoming as mainstream as it is expected to grow into 50-75 years, that will become more mainstream. So your answer of Artha partly will be influenced by the Dharma influence, partly would be influenced by the fact that there is just fixed amount of money being given to people.
Okay.
And you can always debate around whether people will be content with that volume of money or would they still do other stuff.
Yeah.
That's a different debate.
That is their terminology.
Yeah. so but then that's a different debate.
Yeah.
But when that happens,
Yeah.
there is going to be a good proportion of people for whom they would say, like, I'm getting a fixed regular income. It's like pension, right?
Yes,
like a lot of people after 60
without
are happy
retiring a
with-
pension. Yeah.
after 60 they're perfectly happy with the pension money.
Absolutely.
So a good chunk of people, I expect, would be perfectly happy with a regular monthly payout.
Yes.
So that will come into play. When that comes into play, why do, like, the time that people have spent in their regular day jobs is going to be free?
Yes.
Like, if they get this and they're happy with it, what will they do in the...
If they are happy. Yeah.
If we go by the logic of people earning pensions to be happy,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, but by that time the age factor and the things comes in play.
So the thinking is, like, people essentially are looking for work is partly for economic reasons, work is partly for reputational reasons, work is partly for engagement reasons.
Part and parcel of life.
It's like filling up time. That's
Yes.
also part of work.
Yes.
If you really ask, is everyone absolutely passionate about
Their
the work they're doing?
No.
No. I mean, like, so then it's like, if economic reasons were driving their choice, if there is that economic reason being fulfilled by, let's say, universal basic income, you are looking at that time being freedom.
Yes.
So then we are thinking, so initially people might just be spending more of this time engaging in pleasure activities. Let's say going on travel, tour.
The earth is taken care of. Karma has come into picture.
So people will spend more time on pleasure activities because, like, the artha is being taken care of. You have regular payouts. You have money coming into bank account every year, every month. You can spend it whatever you want.
Yes.
So karma will kick in as the natural next step of where the time gets spent, which has been freed from day jobs.
Yes.
Beyond a point, what I'm expecting is karma again has sort of boundaries.
Okay.
Right? Like, you could go to 198 countries or 200 countries. Okay,
Yes.
max.
Yes.
And so what?
Yes.
Okay. I believe that around that time, more of the transition, once people are exhausted with their karma, pleasure linked activities, there is going to be a big time revival into spiritual stuff, which is more of the moksha domain of things.
Okay.
Because people will realize that there is this, like I can do only this much with
It
this.
is becoming cyclic.
I can only do this much with this. And so I believe a lot more of the self-actualization bits of the elements will come in. And there again, going back to what we said earlier, when you have the metaverse that can do both your role play, games and general entertainment, and when it can also in the same device also help you do extremely immersive meditations.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You have both choices in the same glass.
Yeah. Actually, so if I want to experience the meditation sitting on the top of Himalayas,
You can have it literally here.
it's just literally here, like feeling the cold as well, because it will anyways give you the experience of cold.
So that, I believe, would power both the fact there's be more interest into this, partly because of the transition from karma to this, as well as the fact that technology will help you make it more immersive. So that is my expectation of how some of this is going to play out 50-75 years down the line at the intersection between AI and Hindu faith particularly.
Super. Thank you, Dr. Sreevas, for such an interactive session. Like, it was something that I never thought of, and hopefully our audience will also let us know. Let us know if you also thought of this kind of thing, and also what you think that how artificial intelligence can help us or is going to help the Hindu faith and the faith in all our perspective general, and also how you think that it is going to mess things. Whatever you think, let us know in the comments, and we will be waiting to know more. And also we will take up topics you would like to talk to us,
Absolutely.
The more topics you want us to talk about, please let us know, and we will try to cover them either with Dr. Sreevas or more experts. If somebody joins us, then we will get that. Thank you, Dr. Sreevas. On going note, would you like to add anything just on that? So is that
I think I'm hopeful. I am a positive person. So yes, there might be negative bits, but I'm hopeful of the future where there's more evolved humans coming through the intersection between AI and faith. That's my real hope in that sense.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sreevas. Namaskaram.
Namaskar.